Hello gang, thanks for tuning into my Jeep Heap. Today we are going to change out the water pump on my 2004 LJ. This process should be about the same for any 4.0 Wrangler engine. So I'll go over the things we need to do this work. First off, you need a water pump. I chose to go with a new water pump. I've read too many stories of rebuilt ones failing after a couple months, and sure, it's warranted and you get another one, but man, it's a pain in the butt to do this 100 times. I also got one that does have a metal fan on the bottom as opposed to a plastic fan. This is the advanced auto one. I think it was around 50 bucks or so. It did come with a gasket, but I also elected to pay the $5 and get an upgraded, better gasket. At a high level, here's our steps, then we'll go into more detail as we go through the process. We're going to drain all the antifreeze out of the radiator into a bucket. We are then going to remove the shroud and the fan. We can then take the belt off, take the pulley off, and get down here to the water pump, which we'll have to unhook a couple hoses, and then we can unbolt that guy. Okay, first thing, we're going to drain the radiator. Make sure your engine's cool. Mine's been sitting for a couple hours. So take off the radiator cap. And then we'll open the petcock underneath to drain the radiator. I typically will put a floor jack under the driver's side and jack it up just to help this drain as much as possible. So we'll let that run. While that's draining, we're going to go ahead and remove the clutch and fan assembly. The way to do that is to put a large crescent wrench or whatever you have on this bolt. Give it a couple sharp whacks to the passenger side as you face it, so that's in a counterclockwise direction. And remove the fan shroud as well. We'll pull all of that out. I have another video changing this clutch fan that explains that in more detail. So I'm going to go ahead and run through that process. If you need to, watch my other video for details on how to get this off. Here we are. The fan and clutch has been removed. We've pulled the shroud out, which was 4 bolts on each side, and then this hose on mine was actually zip tied to the bottom of it, so I had to clip that. And we had to remove the upper radiator hose, and then we could just slide the shroud straight up. The next thing we're going to do is remove this pulley. We're going to loosen the bolts, and then we're going to take the belt off, and then we can take the pulley the rest of the way off. If you take the belt off first, you'll have no tension on the pulley, and it will be a pain to get those bolts out. If you have trouble with this, one thing you can do is put one ratchet on in tighten mode and one in loosen mode and apply opposite pressure, kind of like doing isometric exercises. That should let you loosen all 4 of these up. Removal of the belt is fairly simple. We take our 1/2-inch ratchet or pry bar, whatever you got, and there's a spot here on the tensioner pulley. We put it in there and we pull towards the driver. Then you can use your other hand to slide the belt off. You should have a sticker that would show you how the belt routes. I don't. So make sure you take a good look at your belt and know how it routes before you take this thing off. I had to tap my pulley a couple times with a hammer for it to fall off. It was mudded on there pretty well. If you do that, be sure to put something here to protect your radiator. I came pretty close to damaging some fins. Next thing we're going to do is remove the water pump. In order to do this, I like to remove this pulley. That gives us access to this hose back here that you can't see because of the focus. And then we have 5 bolts along the edges of the water pump that we need to remove, as well as the lower radiator hose. So let's get going on that. Okay, old water pump is off. I will definitely have to clean the area some. It's really nasty. Get the old gasket mud off so I can get a good seal. And also, just as a note, I could not get this 3/4 inch off while it was